Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the October 1st, 2025 meeting of the Auburn School Committee to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'll start down here on my right with introductions.
Dan Poisson, Ward 5.
Quinn Gormley, Ward 4.
Corin McGuigan, Ward 1.
Pamela Albert at large.
Sue Doris, Superintendent.
Eric Audier, Ward 3.
Jay Rich at large.
Adam Platt, City Council Representative.
Calvin Vincent, Student Representative.
Amanda Kuchar, Business Manager.
Scott Anier, Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you and welcome everyone. Pam Hart was not able to be here tonight. I'll start with the approval of tonight's consent agenda, which includes the approval of tonight's agenda as well as the approval of the minutes of September 17th, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion?
Seconded.
Corin, second Quinn. Any discussion, questions? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda? Thank you. It does not look like we have anyone here for public participation tonight. So we are going to move on to our presentation this evening. Dr. Doris.
Thank you very much. I'd like to invite Laura Shaw, who is our Director of Student Services, and Chrissy Lenehan, who's our pre-K coordinator, up to the front seats here, and they are going to share information with us tonight about our CDS preschool program.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for letting me update you. This is always an exciting topic for me. So this is a CDS transition cohort 2 update. So just a little context. Most of you know the state has required that school districts take over special services for 3 to 5-year-olds. They had the first cohort last year, and then we are in cohort 2. And I've been told that districts are now being voluntold when they're going to be taking over services. So we're one step ahead of everyone. All right, early childhood special ed by the numbers. This is in Auburn. Right now we have 36 children with IEPs. That includes 26 who are 4 and 10 who are 3. We have 28 children in the child find process, so that is 28 students who have been referred by an agency, a physician, a parent, child care center. We have over 11 contracts with various providers. We have 4.5 staff employed by the Auburn School Department. We have 2 positions posted, early childhood ed techs and a speech pathologist, and 1 application for a van purchase. It's quite the process, but we have begun that in hopes of getting a van that we can use. So who is employed by the Auburn School District versus contracted staff? So the Auburn School Department, so these are our employees. We're not contracting with them. They are hired and they are employed by us. So we have a full-time speech pathologist. We have 2 full-time early childhood specialist case managers. We have 1 half-time early childhood special ed coordinator, 2 pre-K teachers so there are 2 pre-K teachers that provide special ed in their classrooms. One is Chrissy and the other is Jen Libby at Sherwood. Their salaries can now be partially funded by the DOE. We have 1 early childhood ed tech hired. We are in the process of hiring a second one. The Assistant Director of Student Services, Rod Boutot, is now partially funded by the DOE, and I've included myself here with an asterisk. We haven't talked about it, but certainly a portion of my salary could be subsidized by the DOE as well because of all the work we do. I don't know why this thing at the top, but just ignore it. So where do our children receive the services on their IEPs? We have Head Start programs in Lewiston and Auburn. There are more than 3 locations total, but at this time we have children children who receive services in 3 of them. The Pine Tree Society Early Learning Center in Auburn, that's the little special purpose program on Minot Avenue. They may be getting it in our pre-K classrooms in the Auburn School Department. We have the Little Explorers program, which is that CDS special purpose program for 3 and 4-year-olds that we are hosting at Sherwood Heights, and they just fit right in. It's like they've always been there. It's so wonderful. We have some students at the YMCA. We have some kids receiving services at Growing Minds Therapy in Auburn, Bright Start Therapy in Lewiston, and then they can also be receiving their services in private daycares, Montessori schools, and private pre-K programs like St. Dom's. Jump in if I'm forgetting anything. So who makes referrals? We have received referrals from Head Start staff, physicians and medical professionals, parents or other family members, pre-K teachers, school staff, psychiatrists, counselors, social workers, daycare providers, DHHS. So it really can come from a number of sources. And right now, we are getting some directly to us, but there's still some filtering through CDS, and then they just forward it to us because they've been doing it so long that parents will go to them or physicians will go to them, but they're slowly getting more to us directly. Who are we contracting with and why? So we have contracts with psychologists, and those, obviously, they do psychological evaluations, occupational therapists, physical therapists, board-certified behavior analysts, BCBAs, speech pathologists, transportation providers. We have a contract with Western Maine. 282B certified staff, so we have one individual who can provide specially designed instruction or do observations part-time, and we can contract with CDS. Why are we doing this? Well, it's 100% funded by the Department of Education. Current Auburn School Department staff salaries can be partially funded by the Department of Ed. The Auburn School Department is better able to meet MUSER timelines. MUSER is the Maine Unified Special Ed regs. So this is what we do for public school special ed. We've done it forever. So we have the staffing and we have the resources to be able to meet those timelines and be compliant. Students will receive high quality supports and services that will help them transition to kindergarten more successfully. At this time, there are no unmet needs, and the amount of students who came to us with unmet need, it was probably a quarter, 25% maybe. We get to know students and families before children enter kindergarten in the Auburn School Department, which will help to transition children to kindergarten classrooms and programs more seamlessly. We are able to collaborate and share resources with community providers, and it allows for more cohesive programming. And it's what's best for Auburn's early learners with special ed needs. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you. I appreciated hearing about this. I did have a quick question. So the first slide you showed us, the numbers were a little different than the headers in the next few slides. So I was just wondering which numbers we should pay attention to.
Yes, so the numbers on this slide are the most accurate. I'm not sure what happened with the headers because literally today I got the numbers from Chrissy and updated it, so somehow they got like relocated or something. I'm not sure.
I understand.
Completely
Thank
could
you.
have
I
been my error.
appreciate it.
I'll own that.
Adam.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. My question is, I guess, maybe a little more 10,000 foot above question, but I know that as we look at our annual budget, we spend a lot of money sending our students out of district to get the services they require. Are we, as these programs develop, as we're utilizing CDS funding or state funding or federal funding, where are we at in the attempt to create programming where people from out of district can come to us and we can start to reverse that? And I know it's not today, I know it's not next year, it's a longer term goal, But in the context of that, where does this fit into that?
Yeah,
that
so
goal?
we've actually, Chrissy and I have had lots of discussions about that. And we definitely we think about in the future being able to develop really comprehensive programming for these kiddos, whether it's just speech and language services all the way to special purpose. And the Little Explorers program, which is technically now a CDS program, in 2028, 3 to 5-year-olds for CDS will no longer exist. So we're hoping that program becomes ours and they become our employees, and then we can tuition out for spots. So that would be a nice thing to happen. And then just overall, I think the dream is to have like an early childhood center where there's inclusionary pre-K, there are programs for 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and again, that whole spectrum of services.
But some of these efforts are possibly, hypothetically, the predecessor to these efforts. You know, that's why
Absolutely.
we're doing some of these things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our first goal was just literally to just get everybody serviced. Like everybody who has a service, make sure they're getting their service. And now we can work more creatively about creating systems that can lead in that direction. Now that we've kind of got, well, pretty much everybody's like getting service. Of course, with all the referrals we'll see, but.
And I think there were, I can just, off the top of my head, there were 9 students in one of our pre-K classrooms last year that didn't get any services that entered kindergarten in the fall. So.
Yep, that's right. And that's our own pre-K. So that's an easy way to provide a service if they're already with us now. So.
I have a question just in terms of trying to understand the logistics of how the program works, and forgive me for not knowing this, but so the children who are receiving services in all of these various locations, are the staff you listed physically going to those locations to provide services, or do the children, like, how does all that work?
It's a combination. So our staff are going out to the Y, the Head Starts, pre-K classrooms, and then we have outside providers, contracted providers who are providing like speech and OT in the schools. We have some kiddos who really aren't in a program, and their parents are bringing them to Bright Start or to Growing Minds or to, you know, a school to get their speech. And then we have some outliers. So like we have one, I don't want to mention too specifically because of FERPA, but we have some in surrounding towns. And if parents live in Auburn and that's where they're placed, like in these private or Montessori schools, then we have to figure out a way to provide that service. So I know my speech pathologist has done a ton of research about providers in southern Maine. So just now has contacts with all kinds of providers in southern Maine and just gave the parent choice, like what works for you. So it's really a lot of networking and just not thinking it's just all gonna fall into place. I mean, we really spent a lot of time trying to gather all the resources that we would need this summer to be able to provide services everywhere.
Thank you.
Can you explain how the funding mechanism works? You said that some of the funding comes from the state, but is it behind the times like a lot of the special ed, or do you get it just?
We receive quarterly allocations, so they give us money ahead of time, and they have some kind of way to calculate that based on what we have for kids and their services. So we received a quarterly amount prior to August 27th, and we are now actually working on the spreadsheet. It has to be done by the end of this week, but we're working on the spreadsheet to give them all of the kids that we currently have. Here's what they are getting for services, and then we're also allowed to add in any student who's in referral that has already had consent signed to test, so they count as well. And then they do their magic, I guess, and they say, here, this is the money you need to be able to provide the services for the kids. Hopefully, I mean, we don't pay anything ahead of time, and my understanding is that if it's less or more, they can adjust. So if we had some left over from the first quarter, it carries over to the second quarter, or if we were short, they'd look at that and say, okay, yeah, you need more money, so.
And it looked like you're going to get an assistant, is that what it is? You had some position? Assistant director.
So that's Rod, so we were able to give him, give him more days, and because he's doing so much work he has a caseload now with some of these 3 to 5 year olds, and he worked in, so part of his salary now is paid through the DOE. Yeah.
Can we get copies of this?
Yeah.
For our reference, I think it would
Yes,
be good to
yeah, I'll
have.
make sure it's a clean copy so it has the right numbers on it, but definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to say that this has taken a tremendous amount of work and many, many hours and a lot of collaboration. So we just want to thank Laura and Chrissy and their team for everything that they've done to get this program off the ground. Thank you.
Welcome, it's a good team.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Moving on, school committee student representatives report. Calvin.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Oh, hold on. I don't know if mine is here. What should I do?
I don't know. Oh.
Oh,
I didn't send it on after because
Oh.
I thought you were making changes to it. So,
okay.
okay. If I send it to you right now, can we update it or no? Okay.
That'll work.
Is that version that you sent me earlier okay to share?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, geez. How do I do this? You said presentations. Sorry about that, Calvin.
Is that right? Okay. I just. Haven't typed in a computer in a long time.
Right there, yeah. Oops.
I don't think this is. It's just a like Google slide.
Did that not work? Mm. Did that not work? Oh, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
To him again? But don't we want to share it with the presentations email?
I got it.
Thank you. All right, sorry about that,
No, all
Calvin.
good. Good evening, everyone. I'm actually going to start off with Edward Little tonight. So, Spirit Week is from October 14th to October 17th and is followed by the Homecoming Dance on Saturday the 18th. This year's theme is movie genres, which, skit practice is going on and is well and fun. In other news, the NHS blood drive is scheduled for October 24th, and community members as well as students and staff at Edward Little are able to participate. So if anyone would like to participate, let me know. I can get you the information for that. Finally, most of Edward Little's sports are halfway through the season, except for golf. Their playoffs started this week, and they won their first playoff match on Monday against Montana. That's all I have for Edward Little. Going on to AMS. Eighth graders during this week have the opportunity for a hands-on learning experience at Casco Bay. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's a estuaries, maybe? Yeah. It's a marine biology center, and they will explore marine life habits, travel to Mackworth Island in an oyster and kelp farm, and have the opportunity to try kelp and oysters and learn how to shuck them as well. Additionally, 8th graders recently just had their annual Aspirations Day with Bates College, and they met with Bates students, strengthened their peer relationships, and were introduced to the college process for the first time. And finally, as a team building exercise, earlier in September, all of 7th grade went to Monkey See, Monkey Do to work on teamwork, collaboration, and communication with all of their new kids. Sounds fun. Moving on to Washburn. They had recently on 9/24, they had the Lion of the Month recognition assembly. They have Fine Dining Friday last Friday. They got a hopeful sign donated by artist Charlie Hewitt, which unfortunately I do not have a photo of, but I wish I did. And then NWA testing is currently going on, I believe. Upcoming events, they have their Spirit Week / Penny Wars on October 20th through the 24th. The book fair, November 4th, 5th, and 6th, which coincides with PTO conference, or parent-teacher conferences, and they had Ted, I'm going to butcher this name, McInnery, coming to broadcast the morning weather live from Washburn, then visiting 5th and 6th grade coming up in the coming weeks. I apologize, I don't know how to pronounce that name. East Auburn is the one with the first, here's the first photos. They have started their Girls on the Run program. And so this is what the photos seem here. And also, coming up, they have their PTO fundraiser, Walk Around the School-a-thon, which I believe is the photo on the right. And you can see, always a big hit. In addition, band and chorus have both begun. Moving on to Park Avenue, this is Dot Day. National Dot Day. So on September 15th, Park Avenue students celebrated by creating art through imagination and following their hearts. It's pretty impressive. This is a lot of dot. Looks colorful. Additionally, Park Avenue is also enjoying gardening fun, seen on the photo on the left. Looks like tomatoes, I believe, possibly. And then on the right is second grade teacher Mr. Robinson celebrating Johnny Appleseed Day with baking and stories. Moving on to Shorewood Heights. Also hosted a channel, WMTV News, with Ted McInnery. And he had an assembly with the 2nd and 3rd graders about the weather. Additionally, the Shorewood Heights parent group, Friends of Shorewood Heights, or FOSH, which I like that acronym, just completed their first fundraiser and raised $9,000 that will go to school field trips and guest speakers. Students also continuously to work towards their PBS goal, and one of the big awards is this book vending machine, which I was told is a big hit. And essentially, if a student hits their goal and they get picked, they can put in a coin and they can pick any book that they want and keep it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Finally, Shorewood Heights has their trunk or treat on October 17th and their annual Hoedown family dance on November 7th. Moving on to Walton. Walton, like Sherwood Heights, also just completed their first fundraiser and surpassed their goal. Additionally, Walton students at this most recent football game got tickets to the little football game, and ran on the field during halftime and completed a race from both touchdown ends. Walton has their parent-teacher conferences on 10/12, and their trunk or treat is 10/24. Yeah. That is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Calvin.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions for Calvin? All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Doris.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Albert. I have 2 items tonight. The first is our fiscal year 2027 budget calendar. You have this in front of you as a handout, and it's divided into the budget development for the administrators here in the Auburn School Department, and then also what this looks like for the school committee. So budget development is underway. Our budget development module has gone live. Is that correct, Ms. Couture? Yes. And we will be developing our budget, working on our budget through the beginning of December. And then we will be getting some feedback from you along the way and putting together a proposed budget by February. And then we will be sure to get input from the Auburn Education Association, and then my budget memo will go to you. Also, I just want to note that in January, we meet with our administrators and directors, and we go over every budget line by line. And so that's on the administrative side. For school committee, we will have a presentation for you on November 19th with sort of a look ahead at this coming year's budget process, and also some numbers, some projections. And then in January, we have our preliminary budget discussion with the City Council. And then you want to note the month of March, where we have meetings every single week, where we're going through different sections of the budget. And then we head into April, where we have our public hearings. One thing I do want to note is we have an added budget meeting on April 29th in case we need to make adjustments to our budget before we bring that to the City Council for approval. And then our budget validation referendum is June 9th. Any questions about the budget calendar? Okay, we're going to move on to our October 1st enrollment update. So you have a handout in front of you where you have the October 1st enrollment for 2025, and then behind that you have the enrollment for October 1st, 2024. So you could take a look at last year to this year, and I would like to highlight a few things. Overall enrollment is up 34 students right now. Last year we had 3,270 students. This year it's 3,304. In terms of significant shifts, at the elementary level, we're seeing a drop of 59 students. And the biggest decline is our kindergarten to first grade cohort. We're down 17 students there. So the trend at the elementary level is smaller incoming classes compared to those that are moving up. And then at the middle school, our enrollment went up 9 students overall, and we gained students in the cohorts. Students entering grade 7, we gained 14 students there, and students entering grade 8, we gained 17 students. And I believe some of those students were from St. Dom's. Is that correct, Mr. Wilson? Yes. At the high school level, this is where we've seen our strongest growth. The enrollment has increased from 1,070 to 1,113. It's up 43 students. And the biggest jumps have been at grade 9, up 21 students, and grade 12, up 15 students. So overall, the high school continues to be the strongest growth area. So just to give you the big summary, overall enrollment is stable with slight growth. Elementary is trending downward, and that is represented in the smaller class sizes in kindergarten, first and second grade. And when I say class sizes, I'm talking about the overall class. And then middle school is steady with some incoming students. And then, as we said, high school shows the most growth with the large increases in 9th grade and 12th grade. Any questions?
Thanks. My question is with regard to metrics, access to metrics we have to track this. Do we have any access to data that might tell us on the, I guess, sub-grade 6 level, the decrease in enrollment? Is that a function of less people living in this municipality with kids? Is it a function of people sending their kids elsewhere? Do we have access to any metrics from either city data or school data that would key us in on that, or are we kind of flying blind there?
One metric that we have is the number of students who are participating in homeschooling programs. So that's something that we could look at. And then I would ask Scott if there is anything in terms of the housing.
Correct.
Piece.
So having done some work with some of the city housing studies, and it's following the similar trend that they're seeing of smaller family sizes and fewer families altogether. As a percentage, there are some outliers of some of those groupings, but consistently the area that they're seeing is the smaller number of families in that demographic of the elementary ages. There's a lot of questions of how to influence that one way or the other, but it stays consistent with what the studies have been showing in terms of tracking overall population in the city.
Any other questions? Okay.
I guess I just admit to being a little bit surprised, because wouldn't this kindergarten class be the first of the sort of the COVID babies, right? Or is that next year?
I think is that next year? Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I do not have a chairperson's report tonight, other than just to say that I attended the community forum last night for AMS. Pat was also there, Corin was there, Dr. Doris and Mr. Wilson and Mr. Neer did a great job presenting. Maybe not as large of a turnout as we would have liked to have seen, but we did have some great questions and discussion from community members. So I would encourage people, anyone who might be watching, to attend our next community forum, which I believe is October 28th. Is that correct? Which will also be at AMS for anyone who is interested in hearing more about the potential plan to bring 6th graders to the middle school. Adam, do we have a city council update tonight?
We do not. This is one of those odd months where we have taken 3 weeks for the city council meeting and 2 weeks for the school board meeting. So we'll be meeting next week for city council on Monday. So no updates today.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to committee reports, we have policy subcommittee agenda and minutes linked. Corin, would you like to give a quick update on anything from the policy minutes? Oh, wait, sorry, that's your curriculum. Pat or Dan, do either one of you want to talk about policy? Pat.
Well, the most recent one we talked about, the policy for Narcan in the classroom, in the schools, and we made no changes.
Yes, yeah. No changes, so nothing on our agenda tonight to discuss from the policy committee. But those minutes are linked to tonight's agenda. Moving on to the curriculum subcommittee, they just met tonight prior to this meeting, so those minutes will be linked on our next agenda. And then our AMS Advisory Committee minutes are linked from our meeting on September 17th. Anything, Scott, you want to summarize from that?
Not particularly.
I think we talked about it at the last meeting.
We had that presentation prior to the school
The last
committee.
meeting,
So it's all kind of stayed pretty,
Yeah.
parallel to the presentation that you
Yeah.
had.
We don't have any old business tonight, and like I said, we haven't had anything come through from our subcommittees, so we don't have any new business tonight. All of our upcoming meetings are linked. I do want to make a note that the Health and Safety Subcommittee meeting time changed for next Monday to accommodate for the joint workshop that we have with the City Council next Monday at 5:30, so make sure to mark your calendars for that. Do we have any future agenda items or requests for information tonight?
I have one. I'm interested in getting a report on the usage and the what's happening at the high school and the middle school.
And I think there was also a request to review the cell phone, our current cell phone policy on the policy subcommittee.
Yes.
So I think that's on your next agenda. We'll be reviewing the cell phone policy. So that discussion will probably happen at your policy subcommittee meeting. And then if you choose to make changes to the cell phone policy, then that will come to us for a larger discussion.
Is it possible to get a student perspective on that as part of a report? I'd appreciate knowing how it's being received.
Sure. Any other questions or requests for information? Okay. Seeing none, I will now entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A for the purpose of evaluation of officials, employees, appointees. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second, Quinn. All those in favor? We are now in executive session. Thank you, everyone.